You're probably thinking, my boyfriend said this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the red suit just turned that other guy into a fucking kebab. Well, I may be super, but I'm no hero. And yeah, technically this is a murder, but some of the best love stories start with a murder. And that's exactly what this is. Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond. And to tell it right, I gotta take you back long before Lou squeezed his ass into red spandex.
Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Make them dance when they come on. Everybody looking for a dance floor to run on.
If you wanna run away with me, I know a galaxy and I can take you for a ride. I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. Glitter in the sky, glitter in my eyes.
Welcome everyone to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, we have author, keynote speaker, thought leader, podcaster, improviser, and the creator and CEO of the Haus, a private label lifestyle brand that connects ambitious humans and their goals. Wow, I did that pretty well without messing up. I'm actually impressed with myself. She helps teams reconnect, fully engage, and up-level their effectiveness. Her top-rated podcast, Yes and, highlights her improv training as a Second City alum and brings the improv mindset into play. Thrive Loud listeners, get ready, get set to holler. I got Judi Holler here on Thrive Loud. Hi, Judi. How are you?
Hi. So good to be here. And best last name ever. Best last name ever.
Your last name, not mine.
That is my last name. Best last name ever.
Holler,
it pretty
holler.
much sums up my personality. And I do want to correct one thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just one of those things that I want to make sure no one is thinking that I'm claiming I'm something I'm not. But I'm an alum of Second City's Conservatory. So
Oh, okay.
I was,
Clarify that.
still an incredible and very awesome thing to be a part of. But, there's a rub. I'm not sure Tina Fey would be super happy to think that there's people out there saying they're Second City alums and they're not. Like,
and so along those lines, we had Dion Flynn, who was on the show, who was a Second City alum.
He was on main stage. Yeah.
So I think I may have, been shortening your bio in such a way. So whatever,
Yeah.
I was trying to recognize your affiliation with it. But
Can
you know what I love about you already?
Girl? I'm an honest girl.
This is what I'm going to say. I know that you are genuine. You're coming out and being forthright, honest. You're correcting me right out of the gate in a very polite way of doing it because I totally messed up.
Well, and here's the thing, life is improv, and that's what we're always saying. And I think at the core, at the essence of the improv theater is this beautiful ability to be authentically who you are. And when I was doing research for my book, my first book, Fear is My Homeboy, I make a lot of Second City references, and Second City and studying there professionally certainly changed my entire life. And I tell this story in the book. I didn't take improv for the first time until I was 30 years old. So I had this full-time career.
So that was like minus 5 years ago is what I'm judging by right now.
Minus 5 years ago. Yeah. And, I was reaching out to Second City to do, get some quotes for the book and, all that authory stuff you do when you write books. And I had, I sent some advanced reader copies to some staff at Second City. And that was one of the things they pulled out. They were like, oh, by the way, you just might want to make an edit there. Like, we love you, but main stage is a whole nother set of alumni. And, I'm telling you, whether you're main stage or you're conservatory or you are a level A improv kid, just take an improv class. It doesn't matter which direction you go, because I don't know about you, rules, schmools. I don't know if that makes sense, but like rules, schmools, improv is the shit. And it changed my life, and I'm proud of it no matter how it came to me.
Let's go down that avenue. I want to kind of do the little rewind. I don't want to go all the way back to the womb, Judi. I want to go to where you realized that your understanding of improv and how it changed your life has made your life what it is today and what you're doing with it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, opening the door to that improv classroom changed everything. I like I said, was 30 years old the first time I took an improv class. And, I thought at the time I was an ancient fossil. And so what a lot of people don't know is, and I tell this story in the book, and it's actually a signature story in one of my keynotes, is the story of me actually quitting the first time. I paid the fee, and let's be clear, Second City is the mothership. They do not give you your money back if you do not show up for class. And I didn't show up for class. I walked all the way there, left my apartment, the whole thing, literally had my hand on the door handle to the classroom, and I never walked in. I was so afraid that I was, all the limiting beliefs, right? Too old, too late, not funny enough, not smart enough, all these kids. And I was I had signed up for basic level A improv. I hadn't even auditioned for Conservatory yet. And, this was level A improv. So I quit. It took me 2 years to go back. And, the question I ask, anyone listening right now is, wouldn't it be great if we could stop that shit, right? If we could stop quitting on ourselves, if we could stop missing opportunities, and most importantly, if we could stop allowing fear to make our decisions. So to answer your question, that's what it taught me, everything. Yeah. Because when I opened the door to that improv classroom the second time and actually walked in and saw the first human being, I put this photo up in my keynote. It's the photo of my first ever improv ensemble. And the first person I met was a woman named Shelley, who at the time was in her early 50s, University of Chicago professor, taking improv to think on her feet in the classroom. And then I highlight in the back a gentleman by the name of Frank, who at the time was 51 years old, sales guy, wanting to be a more confident presenter. And here was this 30-year-old kid, 30, almost 2 at the time, so afraid, so paralyzed by the limiting belief that was my perceived elder age, that I quit. And, when I walked in and saw people decades older than me, it just really illuminated the fact that, we're always right on time. And when we're brave enough to open the door to anything new, despite our fear, despite our doubt, despite other people not getting it, that's when we start to crack open the next yes, the next thing, the next, it changed everything for me. Literally everything. Quit my job, started a business, wrote a book. Here we are together today. I created House of And. I speak on stages. I have my own podcast, all these things. And that's great. But it's just this beautiful reminder that it's all possible. You just have to be brave enough to open the door.
I want to hit this topic because this is going to be a good swing here, because we've had a lot of improv folks on, and trust me, our listeners know how valuable Yes And is. And I loved how you went from no but to yes and it took 2 years to get to that point. Yep. And I think what I wanted to dive in there is the fear you were facing. And there's a lot of people who, when they enter improv classes or workshops, they might not, leave and not come in. They'll get in there and they won't engage right away. And I want to address what you've seen is why. When we're kindergartners and we're young, we will jump in and play any role we want to. We are literally living improv. You want to be a superhero? Go ahead and go be it. You want to go be the best of whatever it is. You want to be a fireman or a doctor or whatever it might be. You step in and you can do it when you're a young kid. What happens to us? Because I know to understand how valuable the power of improv is, you have to understand what holds us back from taking it on. What do you think it is, that fear that's inside us?
Overthinking other people's judgments, other people's opinions, people not liking us not being smart enough, funny enough. And oh, by the way, oh my God, what if I fail? What if I suck? We're so afraid to suck. I think the biggest secret weapon over the years for me, I get asked this a lot. Oh, what's this? And I hate the word success because I think success looks so different. For you, success could just be I did not hit snooze today. I am winning, right? I am moving through such deep anxiety, depression, overwhelm, whatever someone may be moving through. Or, hey, success for me is that, my teenager spoke to me this morning. It was amazing. The best day ever, right? We're all going through different things and we all have different priorities. But I think success really, truly, at the end of the day and at the end of our lives, means living a good life on our own terms, doing it our way. And I think that's at the root of it. So for me, when I'm asked what the secret to my success is and how I've gotten to where I've gotten to today, there's 2 answers. Number one, and to answer your question, and this is huge, I am not afraid to look stupid. I am not afraid to change my mind. I am not afraid to get it wrong. I am not afraid anymore to open the wrong door. I'm not afraid to fall off a stage. I've done it. I am not afraid to try new material out and have it not work. I'm not afraid to rebrand. I'm not afraid to redo my hair and the way I dress and the way I, the way I think. Thoughts can change as you age. My goodness, as you learn things about yourself and the world. So number one, the superpower of improv theater and 5-year-olds who dress up as Superman is they don't overthink it, right? They just go. And I think the other and secondary piece of advice to like my secret to success is the power of the ensemble. Like, how did I get to where I'm at today? Dude, all the people that have helped me. Like all the people, all the phone calls I've made. Now I've picked up the phone and asked for the help and put myself in the arena and done the hard thing and risked embarrassment. But man, I've gotten so much support and help from other ensemble members along the way. And I think that is a key we miss. We can't do it alone. We don't have to do it alone. Improv reminds us that's possible.
You're going to love this. We did some workshops with some really high-end organizations and top salespeople. And we have this exercise, which is very improv-y type of things where they have to do something spontaneous. In fact, pre-COVID, we used to do this much more often. We actually would leave the workshop. We would go to either a bar or a place that there was an open mic. And we would give them a little bit of a heads up to say, hey, prepare some performance piece. And the general idea was we would let them know at that particular point, hey, guess what? You're going to go on stage in front of us and a whole bunch of random strangers at this place, and you're going to go present. And you have to see what happens to everybody. All those things you just described, the judgment, the fear, the anxiety, all that stuff that goes in there. And then I hit this big part, and you always get one person that says, I'm going to go do it. And once they see one person do it with liquid courage or not, that's not important right now. They get up there and they almost deploy some improv-based things, even in just their act, because they're a little bit nervous with what's happening. And it turns out to be better than what they think it could be. When it's all said and done and we regroup afterwards, I always hit them with, so if you had the balls to get up there and go on stage and perform and take that thing and say, yes, and I'm going to do it, you could probably pick up the phone and grow your business a little bit more and not worry about calling that client. Or you could take on that new risk and try something new within your business. You can try and do all these things. I think what's so great about yes, and I'm going to step into this in the House of and, is that deploying what you've learned as an individual and all the lessons of improv apply to so many more important things in business. Mm-hmm. Can you share with a little bit about how your message carries over to branding, to messaging and everything, and how that can be all packaged together?
Yeah. I mean, it's a message of movement, right? The goal is to get to the action faster, right? And this is why I don't think yes is enough. Like throughout history, yes, and, yes, and, yes, and, yes, and. They've always gone together and they're great. They're the darlings of the improv theater. But I've sort of broken it apart because I don't think yes is enough, because without and, we don't move. Like if you and I were to play right now and do an improv scene and we just like we would, like I would give you a suggestion and you only could say yes, it would literally go one sentence, right? Like you need the and, you need like need the additive. And so what the House of and, what's really at the essence, the core, the heartbeat of House of And is that we're going all in on the ampersand, which is movement and getting people to take more confident action faster. Because here's the deal, and this is big. If you're listening right now and you're driving, prepare your heart. If you are on the treadmill, pull over. Okay. A lot of people, and when I realized this, it really changed everything for me. So many of us think we have to be confident to go do the thing. Oh, he's so confident. That's why she's so confident. I'm not confident. I could never pick up I could never start a business. I could never be a teacher. I could never get you got to have all, I'm just not confident. You think you need confidence to go do those big things in the world, but actually it's the opening of new doors and the doing of new things and the movement that makes you more confident. So like confident is the outcome of consistent action. So we are chasing the and. We love the yes. We love the yes. It gets us in the game. But the and keeps us moving. Hence the algorithm of and the and method that we're teaching and living and loving inside the House of And.
Oh, I love this. And you are so right, by the way. It's the I was just thinking of a guy I was talking with who's been on fire. And a lot of the in the zone and on fire thing, whether it's in a sport or on stage or in the zone or in business, you're the movement piece of what you do is that by accepting what that next step is or in moving forward and keeping things moving onward and upward, which is what we're about here on Thrive Loud, is that by doing that, you're creating this momentum that makes you even better and smoother and all the things that you do, that it actually creates other opportunities. And that's why you see it's not just one win. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
It's an infinite game. It's an infinite game. I mean, take your example of bringing the people on stage. I do this in my keynotes. I bring people up on stage and of course, I ask for volunteers because you have to pick yourself. I want you to be scared. I want you to have no idea what's about to happen. We don't have a script, but oh, by the way, did you wake up with a script? I didn't. You and I always tell people, they're like, I could never improvise. I'm like, babe, did you have a conversation today? Like you have improvised, like you are doing it. Like, are your kids, did you keep your small child alive today? Did they get their pants on? Like that's an improv performance, right?
And sometimes that's not even a requirement.
Sometimes it's not even a requirement, right? So like to your point about bringing people on stage, like what I love about that moment, and tell me if you feel it too, is the energy of the aftermath of that. Because here's what happens. You watch someone transform in front of your eyes because you see someone very scared. They have no idea what's about to happen. They're terrified. You can feel them shaking in some cases. You see their nerves, the beads of sweat. You can almost feel their heartbeat because they're next to you on stage. They do the thing they didn't think they could do. They do it, mind you, without a script. And then they're getting laughs and roaring audience applause. And they become the star of the show. Because, as an improviser, my only job is to make her or him look even better than me on stage. So they get done with this. And then 9 times out of 10, I swear to you, the improviser gets done, who is playing with me, the volunteer goes, oh my God, that was awesome. Oh my God, that was amazing. I feel so good. And boom. There we go. Now we're off to the races. See that feeling, that's the magic. That's the magic of and that's the drug of momentum. The more you get that, man, the stronger you get.
I got to share a story with you because you just sparked a memory here. And this is a mutual acquaintance of ours. I mentioned Dion Flynn before, who's been a guest on the show. He's an unbelievable improv guy. And he did a workshop at an event earlier this year. And what you just described was something happened in that room. And it's an exchange happened in an improv setting in a situation which was really just not applying it to a business setting. It was just let's live in the moment and talk about a certain story. I think it was if I want to remember that, because it's the part I remembered, it was superheroes in an old age home, and there was just
epic,
some absolutely incredible stuff going on. And one of the people who Dion made the star in this thing, when it was all said and done, everybody's laughing and dying, and I'm watching it like a fly on the wall. And he stops and he says at that moment, he goes, right now, what you're all feeling, this energy right here. He goes, this is the power of what this can bring you.
100%.
And it excites people. It gets people creative. And I think it does something else. It brings us back, not just to the 5-year-old version of ourselves. It brings us back to a version of ourselves that is hopeful, that recognizes there's opportunities, that dreams, things that we think couldn't happen before actually can. Mm-hmm. And they always have been able to happen. They always could happen. It is just understanding that you got to get your mind in that space to get there.
Yes. And to take it a step, see what we did there, and to take it a step further and add on to your beautiful point, this notion of like, okay, well then how does that manifest in real life for the person listening right now? Like, okay, well, great. I'm never going to get on an improv stage. I'm not a performer. I have no access to improv. I don't have a theater in my, well, how does this look like? How does this look in real life? Like, how do I get this energy and this momentum and these and moments in my real life? It is it could be something as simple as, like you mentioned earlier, picking up the phone and advocating for yourself and making a sales call and closing a deal, right? It could be you writing an article or getting published in like an industry magazine and saying like, oh my God, I did it. Like I put delivering a breakout speech at your industry conference or sitting in the front row at a meeting or leading a conversation, on your team, asking the first question on a conference call, like all of these opportunities we have every day to put ourselves out out there, to get ourselves into the mix, to put ourselves in the way of the magic. We have these opportunities every day. The problem is we think it has to be perfect. We think we overthink, we self-doubt, we are tethered to these limiting beliefs that just are serving no one. But the devil in disguise, and that is always what you'll miss, and the regret that lives on the other side of any opportunity you don't take to dance just a little bit with your courage, and prove to yourself how brave you are. And that's the fun of it, right? Like, oh my God, what could I do today to advocate on behalf of myself, my business? Let me give you one more example. Last week, this is a perfect tactical example. So the teacher is also the student. So we live in this world of social media and phones, and so many times we're behind screens, and you get it. And it can be really lonely running a business. It can feel really confusing. We're looking around too much. We're not keeping our eyes on our own paper. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, why isn't the needle moving? Why am I not hitting a revenue goal? Why is she or he getting further ahead than me? Or why all these things? So instead of sitting in those pockets of why, which I can find myself doing, this was happening to me last week. I made an edit. I did an and to myself last week. And I said, okay, I knew I needed to chase down 3 different things in my work week. One of them was a revenue. I needed to close this particular deal. I needed to get this particular piece of footage from a keynote that was really important, but we, kept hitting roadblock. And then I needed to have one other yes. I needed another yes from another client, right? And so I, for weeks, kept kicking this ball down the field, kicking it down the field, making a little progress, not making progress. But you know what I did? I literally scheduled a call with all 3 of those people. And by Friday at 2:00 in the afternoon, I had everything I wanted.
Oh, I love it.
And that infused, you know what it did? It made me schedule calls, schedule calls this week differently and advocate for myself differently. It gave me that boost of confidence and momentum. Like, you know what? Hell yeah. Like, I can do this. I can do hard things. And it's so great to talk to another human, because that's when we make the magic happen. So it felt a lot like doing improv on stage, right? It felt like the energy of that moment for the improviser. It was that same simulation of energy for me. It just invigorated me, right? It put confidence in my veins, and I needed it,
To our listeners out there, I want you to take what Judi said to heart in one particular area. When you know you have a bunch of things that you are looking to happen, prospective business calls, opportunities, you're trying to grow yourself, your individual, whatever it is, don't just be satisfied with the one. Jump into the end. What she just talked about is so important. Take the momentum that you got from the first one. And by the way, you may not have gotten a win in that first one. It may be, hey, right now, the win is just picking up the phone and speaking to that person, because guess what? If it's not a yes today, it could be a yes tomorrow. And what's important is that you get that, and now you carry that momentum to the next task and go through it. That is where you win in this life, because it is taking that momentum in the conversations that you've been having, because that creates the confidence. I love that example. And now I'm starting to understand the power of the House of And, baby. I'm on board.
And yes. And it's about building the muscle, right? Like, so to wrap it up in a bow, it's like you go to the gym to lift weights and to build muscles, but you don't just lay on your couch and get strong. You don't, sit around and eat pizza and get fit, right? Like, you have to do the work. You have to run the reps. And so you want to have a great relationship with your spouse, date them. You want to be more creative, do creative things. You want to be brave, dance with your fear, babe. That is the way to do it. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to move, dude. You have to do the scary thing. And the great thing about scary things, so to your point, like, you may pick up the phone call and you don't get what you want, or someone may hang up on you, or someone does not respond to your DM, or you don't get the answer, or you don't get invited onto the show, or whatever. Awesome. Great. Notch in my belt, little chalk on my hands. Boom, I'm feeling a little stronger. On to the next one, right? On to my next stand. We start to get braver, right? And that's a muscle we forget about. We forget about it. Courage is hard. Courage is
work. I'll say this, courage is work. It is work.
Got to show up to it.
I love asking guests this question. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I have an idea. Maybe I have an inkling. I think I do. I love asking guests on the program this question, because it actually decodes kind of what makes them thrive. Look, you've been killing it since that one class that you went to, which took a while. And I love the story that there was a failure even just to get into it.
Big
and
time.
You've made it into a career, you've made it into a business, you've made it into a speaking platform, and to all these different platforms in your podcast and everything, which means you are thriving on most days, Judi. We all have those days when we're not quite kicking on all cylinders and we're a little off our game. Judi Holler, when you have trouble thriving, what practice do you seek, or maybe which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Yeah, the re-thrive train. This happens a lot. So welcome to a day in my brain. Like life, as I always say, like life is improv. None of us wake up with a script. And so you could be thinking that you've got your business on the rails, or your company is off to the races, and then a curveball happens and oh my God, now I don't really know where I'm going, and I certainly don't feel like I'm thriving. So for me, when those moments happen, it is a great reminder that it's probably time to put down my phone and pick up myself. Meaning, I sometimes have this bad habit of not keeping my eyes on my own paper. And it is when I look around too much that I get lost from what brings me joy and what makes me come alive and what I find funny and what I find thought provoking, etc. So when I have lost my thrive, I recenter by coming back to myself and really limiting my time with social media and putting some big boundaries in place to really remain focused. And I think if there's one big thing to understand here, I think the reason we stop thriving is we have lost focus, and fear loves this pocket, because when you are focused, you become really hard to stop. So keep in mind, fear's got one job only. It's so basic. It's so boring. Fear wakes up every single day with one job. Its job is to stop you. Cool. Knowing this means we also have the antidote: movement. Action. So when I get off my game, when I get off my hustle, when I don't feel like I'm thriving, sure, self-care, regroup, eyes on my own paper, but okay, maybe there's an and in here that I'm not seeing. Yes, I'm stuck. Yes, I've hit a rock bottom. Yes, I'm at a plateau. And how can I get out of it? I start to answer that question. Once I've answered that question, cool. What doors do I need to open? What keys can I grab? Who needs to be in my ensemble to help me get out of this? And then boom, step 4, perfect. Boom. What's the first new door I'm going to kick open? So I'm always getting myself out of any proverbial rut with the next. And that's the cool thing about it. And can get you into things, but it can also get you out of things. So use and to, if you are not thriving, yes, that's your yes. Yes, I am in a rut. And how can I get out of it? Answer that question. Who can help you do it? And then what's the first door you're going to open? I mean, this is the methodology we're teaching. So I take my own medicine, and it's hard to do in some cases. But yeah, the goal, I keep moving. Move, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's do the admin part of the show here, Judi. Share with the listeners all the wonderful places people can find you. Everyone now, wait, even though you put down your phone and you picked yourself up, you can now pick up your phone unless you're driving.
Now you can get back on social media.
Exactly. Now you can do it. Where can they find you? Social handles, everything. We'll put it in the show notes, but it always gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
So cool. Well, yeah, judiholler.com is the website. Haus of and, Haus of and is the Haus website. Things are always changing, but those are beautiful platforms to stay really connected with the work. And then from a social media perspective, I hang out most of the time on Instagram, Judi Holler, Judi Holler, the verb, the verb. So yeah, those are my places.
We have been having fun here on Thrive Loud since the very beginning, and we are now heading down Fun Street because I know you are ready for it to really dive there. You ready, Judi, for some fun?
I'm ready. I like Fun Street. Fun Street sounds like a fun street.
Can you share with the listeners what maybe one of your all-time favorite movies, or one that you love to rewatch that just makes you feel good?
Talladega Nights, all day, every day. It's one of my and Deadpool, Talladega Nights. Those are always.
Man, we gotta hang out more often, Judi. This is spectacular.
I have a poster of Ricky Bobby in one of our guest bedrooms. Like, are you kidding me? And we have Deadpool on the front of one of our cars. We literally have Deadpool. People think it's Spider-Man. I'm like, if you know, you know. We have Deadpool on like the front of one of our cars.
So the listeners dedicated listeners to Thrive Loud know that we do some very unique openings to the show, and my producers are basically hollering right now because they're like, we get to break out the Deadpool opening for this program.
God, I can't wait, man. It's so wrong. It's so wrong, but it's so right.
So there's a restaurant. I live in just outside New York City, not too far away from where Ryan Reynolds lives. And I've seen Ryan Reynolds, but there's this restaurant that he always goes to. Those who are familiar in Bedford, a restaurant called Truck. He and his wife show up there every now and then. We have gone every single time. And every time my daughter goes, is he coming in? Is he coming? We have yet to see him there. Ryan, when you listen to the episode, you should show up. And Ryan. So we'll give him a little shout out because we have a little connection to him. I'll share that with you afterwards. But
that's awesome.
Let's throw that word out. I almost said the BUT word, but let's keep going. Okay. I'm going to go through speed round with you. This is the Fun Street speed round special section, and you're going to kill this. I'm going to ask you something. I want the first thing that comes to your mind.
This is improv.
Yes, these are things that lift you up, that motivate you, that make you feel good, that basically make you thrive. Okay. Ready? Of late, a song that you love to listen to, or maybe one that pumps you up.
You want me, my sugar baby, my na. I'm levitating.
Levitate.
Yeah.
You haven't had a Dua Lipa song. I like that. That is a good one. And she's performing and dancing. I know. The video of this episode just got so much better.
It's levitating.
Yes,
yeah.
Levitating.
Let's come on repeat lately. Mm-hmm.
Favorite food that is not a dessert?
Tacos.
Favorite dessert?
Mint chip ice cream.
An activity you wish you did more of?
Relaxing.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Social media.
If I could snap my fingers and Judi Holler could be anywhere in the world, where are you?
Lanai, Hawaii.
Oh, I've never been to Lanai, but I was across from Lanai in Maui, and I was looking at Lanai like a whole time, and it's a pretty cool looking place.
At the Four Seasons at Manili Bay, staring at the spinner dolphins. That's where I'd be.
Oh, I like it. Last thing here. Before the last thing here, we have to give a couple of shout outs here. First of all, shout out to Jen Zawatsky for connecting us.
Shout out
Tarvin, our brother from another mother. Gene Stafford, another improv person who's actually has a book called Yes and, which is kind of fun.
Oh, I love it.
And with all that, they've all been guests on the program, and now we've got you, and they'll all be excited to hear their names, because it's always exciting to hear a name. It's the most aesthetically sounding.
It is fun.
Yes.
I tattooed my last name on. This is my maiden. Well, I kept my last name. It's my dad's handwriting.
Oh, wow.
So that's my first tattoo, and I had my dad write. So yeah, you're right. It's so funny but it's also like your family, your heritage, like your roots, right? But yeah, your name has a ring to it. You know what I mean? So it feels good.
Literally, my name does have a ring to it.
So yeah. Actually does.
It's literal. Last thing to take us home to here, Judi, a key message you want all the listeners from this show to take away from the gifts that you've been given in this world. You've been creating a lot of things. Gifts are being put out there. What's the biggest gift that they can take from you?
The magic is in the movement. Just keep moving, right? Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers, right? Dare I say, you don't even need to know what's on the other side of the door. You just have to be brave enough to open it. And when you do that, the and will catch you. The and will catch you.
A pleasure. Absolutely a rock star here. I think you were in my family at one point or another. Even the mint chocolate chip ice cream or whatever mint ice cream would be there.
The green kind though, not the
green one. Yeah, the green with
like
the chips, the chocolate chips.
The green with all the GMOs, extra GMOs.
Judi Holler, truly a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much. Everybody, check it out. House of N. We will get all the links. Great to have you on.
So good. Thanks.
To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah. I got you, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.